Hello, everyone. Welcome to Forge the Narrative. My name is Paul Murphy. We are the Bell Lost Halls podcast. I'm joined by Adam Camilleri.
G'day.
And Tanya Gates.
Hey, everybody.
How is everyone doing? Welcome to the show. If you're just joining us here, we're talking about Warhammer and Warhammer-related things. I was just at PAX Unplugged this past weekend and had a blast. I was actually in the Games Workshop booth giving some entry tutorials and demos on Warhammer 40,000, and it is so cool, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, very cool, bringing like that joy of the Warhammer world to folks. And it was a continuous stream of people wanting to know more about it and play, and we were running through using the starter set, the Space Marines versus the Tyranids, and basically I think approximately 7 billion Gaunts were harmed in the process.
There's more where that came from.
Every time rack them back up. Yeah, it was, but it was neat. Walking through getting people to walk through the steps, and what is Warhammer 40,000. A lot of people ask, what should they play? We've talked about how to kind of maybe prioritize what kind of groups of factions are right for you. But it was a real good time. And then PAX is a convention that is largely centered around board games, and it's kind of like we talked about Gen Con, but you can go from booth to booth to booth and play all these games that you've never seen before. And a lot of people did take that step into Warhammer and 40K and Age of Sigmar.
Wonderful. I mean, I love that stuff. We had PAX in Australia that Games Workshop came in and ran a booth at as well. And I went and visited with that, hung out for many hours, catching up with a bunch of people I haven't seen in a long time. And then having some of the international events team in attendance in my home city was really nice. And yeah, it was constant, never ending. The paint and take where
we had a paint and take there too. Yeah.
Dude, it was like doors would open in the first 90 minutes. The paint and take would be booked out for the entire day, and people would just line up for their session, and they'd come back hour after hour after hour. Like some people would sign up at 10 o'clock and come back at 4 o'clock for their paint and take, and it was beautiful to see.
No, we had folks with the paint and take that they paint their model, get up for their model. Like this is now my hobby. Because it is so cool to bring something to life. Now, they were using basically walking people through some of the basic base coat, dry brush, top coat type thing, wash, and things like that. But then, when people see that model come to life, and also if they came to see me at the demo table, I would let them put their model into the game.
Aw, that's so awesome.
Yeah.
So, and was there a similar? So there is bonuses for coming and playing a demo game. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not going to say it was done at this one, but at the one where I was at, you got a discount on your purchase if you played a demo game.
So here there's a special, there's a unique pin that is available only at PAX and
That's
only
cool.
at the booth, and you got to get an extreme discount on that pin.
That's sick.
Yeah, if you played the demo, or I gave them a secret code to use at the register when they did that. Yeah, although the paint and take, if you did you paint and take, you did the activity, you also got a bit of a coupon code or whatever to use. So there's a lot of things that if you wanted to get into it, it was a little bit more accessible after you did the thing.
What was the code?
I'm not telling you. It's a secret. You come and walk through the demo with me at PAX. I will make sure you get the hookup.
Are you saying streaming with you, personally, you, sitting next to you, being my foxhole buddy in the trenches for thousands of hours does not get me this code?
Look, we have rules. There's rules, and I want to make sure that everyone's on the equal playing field. Don't worry, I got you. I got you. I got you. I got you.
It's fine.
I got you. It was again incredibly fun, and then there's always some hard to find things in the booth too. So seeing folks either light up from an exclusive or find something that they did not expect to see because it was there in what is a giant Games Workshop store, large Forge World store outside of Nottingham.
Correct. There is stuff that I haven't seen on a shelf in 10 years there. In addition to upgrade kits, transfers that I thought were out of production, and I'm like, oh my god, this is Like, this is the bee's knees. This is hen's teeth. You cannot find this on a shelf anywhere.
Oh, we had the holiday sweaters there for both the Space Wolves and the Chaos Marines or Chaos ones, and I know it's good, but they're really nice quality. So if you're looking to pick them up, and that's you're looking for that sweater vibe in the holidays, they're very nice, very nice.
Is it actually knit? Is it like a jersey, like a hoodie, or
it's not a sweatshirt? It's or whatever. It's it's like it's got that whole feel to it. I also got a couple of T-shirts. They had I couldn't resist. They had a new Blood Angel design, and and I got a Necron design for my youngest.
Nice.
So yeah,
He'll come around.
No, but it's so yeah. This is an example, and then of course walking through the demos and people playing, and then open it up to questions, and and people it's a great game, play a good game, and people be able to link it from showing how a model gets built and painted to being able to actually play and roll some dice, and they start to imagine themselves getting into it, which is nice. But PAX, again, great convention. Like lots of cool people, real nice vibe throughout the entirety of it, and it's a pleasure to go. I think this is my third or fourth time at PAX Unplugged. I want to say third, maybe fourth, but it is one of the highlights of the circuit with this stuff, and just a nice way to round out the travel year, I think.
did you get any delicious food while you were there?
You know it. So where it's held is right there in the convention center, and there are some really nice restaurants around there. And this was like they turned the whole downtown area in like a winter wonderland. It looks like a Hallmark movie. I may have mentioned this before, but
well, I'm not sure you've mentioned where it is. This is Philly, right?
Oh yeah, yes, Philly, yes.
Nice.
But in Reading Market, I got one of the best cheesesteaks I've ever had in my entire life. It was
It better come from there. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't even know if it's like known as the best, or like if it's I don't know where it ranks in Philly cheesesteaks, but it is, to me, it was probably the best thing I ate while I was there. Was from a place called Gus's Cheesesteaks in Reading Market.
What made it so good?
I could talk about this all day. So the bread was, was fresh, and it really contained the sandwich. I posted this on Instagram. I don't really post food on Instagram too much, but I posted on the Instagram. But it had I forget what the name of the cheese was, but it wasn't just like standard cheddar cheese, but it was like some boutique cheddar cheese type thing, and had some hot peppers on there. But the thing that I liked about it the most is as you were biting through the sandwich and then enjoying the sandwich, you got every single distinct flavor, but yet it still married all together. And I didn't set out to eat both halves, but I did.
If it's a 10 out of 10, it's 0 calories. That's the
okay.
rule.
Oh, well, yeah, good. That's we wiped that out. Then I'm glad to know that. But it was delicious, and probably the best thing I ate while I was there. Although that area, you kind of have to, like, especially when you're doing the con, you can only get out so much and stuff. But it was really good, and worth, if you're in the area already, the Reading Market. I can't remember so I know that it is the Monopoly piece, like the place on Monopoly. There's Pennsylvania Railroad and Reading Railroad. They're right there. Like you can see them as you're going around the city. So it's kind of cool to be in like that kind of history of, or board game significance. Although somebody was telling me that it's not the real Reading Market. The Reading Market or the Reading Railroad got renamed to something else, and it's somewhere else in the city or whatever. But it's named Reading. It's a Reading train station. Good enough for me. And it was nice to be there. But no, that cheesesteak, nothing else came close to it with the food. But playing the game, again, hanging out with people, learning Warhammer, getting experience in Warhammer, it was fun. A lot of folks, they get up, they're like, what is right for me? What should I play? and it's kind of cool, getting to know them as they're describing like what they think is cool about certain things, and then kind of giving them some ideas about maybe where to go.
Yeah. It feels like I reckon if I was starting the game now, I'd find it a lot harder to decide what I wanted to play. Because I got my first miniatures was a pewter sergeant with a plastic arm in second edition, second edition 40k. There was only so many options back then.
Yeah,
and it was very easy to rule of cool find your way to what you loved. Now all the miniatures are good. Everything's like pretty much the same effort to paint. Obviously, there's some that's a little bit easier, like Custodians Necrons are probably on the easier side, and you probably got like Harlequins, maybe Drakari Orcs on the harder side of things, depending on how much effort you want to put into the green and stuff like that. But apart from there's not much. Everything's kind of cool as hell, and all the miniatures are fantastic. So yeah, I think it could be very interesting. I think I'd probably have to read some lore to get my deciding factor in if I was starting now.
What kind of counts people to how to rank it is you choose the priorities. We talked about this before. It's either the look, the play style, or the lore. Rank that however you want, and that's going to give you some idea of maybe what you might enjoy.
Actually, this has been an interesting question, and maybe this will spark a little debate. If you were let's say Tanya and Paul, you had infinite time with somebody who was brand new to the game, like they just had all their time was not a factor, and you had to help guide them to the faction they would love the most. What would your process be? Like, what questions would you ask of them?
I mean, it kind of goes back to that. I don't know, Tanya, if you got some ideas, or I mean, I know that you spend a lot of time with folks.
Yeah, I think that I would probably want to know if they played any other games, like if they ever played any role-playing games or anything like that, and like what is their favorite class to play, because it's going to kind of give you an idea of what their play style might be, right? So if they play Dungeons and Dragons, they're like, I love to be a druid, then you might want to give them something that's like an all-rounder, right? Something that could
something can turn into a bear.
I mean, ideally, but like something that can melee, can possibly also shoot, can possibly have some tricks, if they're like, I like to play a wizard and I like to cast fireball as much as possible, then like maybe I put them towards Tau or something like that. So I might look for like other ways to kind of gauge where they would be, but some people really are not going to like to paint also. So I think I would probably spend a lot of time sort of helping them to make a plan for painting whatever they did end up choosing. Because I think a lot of people end up putting a lot of effort in to parts of the model that they really don't have to, and then they get discouraged when it's taking forever. So yeah. That's what I would
highlighting that it's a build, paint, and play game is pretty big, and I think that's a great point, because they may like the idea of horde Tyranids until you explain that they now have to paint. Which might be like, no problem. When do I start? Like, I really want that. Like that's.
And I mean, with the advent of things like contrast and various other products, that isn't anywhere near as bad as it used to be. Like, that is a lot. Painting those 200 models is nowhere near as much time as it used to be. It's still a lot. Like, I'm not going to sit here and tell you, it's nothing. You'll be fine. You've still got to qualify as something someone's up for. I love the D&D analysis. I think that is genius. Finding out how they see themselves as a person and extrapolating that into what you think they will enjoy about the game. I think that is brilliant. Yeah, that is really cool.
I like that too. Yeah. So the journey was pretty cool. So I'm trying to think what other big highlights. Getting to see people and stuff. Like, it's always neat to get out to those things. I don't know if you're listening and have not gotten out to not only a Warhammer event. Like, by the way, see some events get posted on the Warhammer community site. For Palm Springs, is the first one in January coming up.
Might see me there.
Yeah.
We'll see Paul there.
And you will not see me there.
And then the first Warhammer event that's being in continental Europe, which
yeah, in the Netherlands. And
technically, there was one in Manchester years ago. We don't count that one.
Warhammer Fest.
Yeah,
it was a big
tournament.
tournament.
It was like 3 years ago now. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a while ago. But
so,
put them on your radar to go to. I think they're going to be phenomenal. It's going to be the first kickoff for the events stuff there, and they're always fun. You get cool people there. But anyway, I was saying, if you haven't made it out to an event yet and you're looking to get into it, or I cannot say this enough, you get in a whole environment with very much like-minded people that are all there focused on having the time of their life doing the things that's important to them. And there's something almost like magical about it, that you get kind of wrapped up in, and it's fun to do. So if you can swing it, if you can do it, and you feel like interacting in that way might be cool, it is cool, so
it really is.
Yeah, I enjoy it. Speaking of PAX and the store and getting into this season that we're in, had a lot of people come into the store asking, like, what should I get somebody that I care about? They're there to get something, and they want to surprise them. They want to do something, either for something, right now, or for, of course, the holiday season coming up. And that's a harder question than it sounds. And we normally do something around like if you're going to get something for the hobbies person in your life, I can tell you that it's very difficult to play for a meta chaser, or sorry, to buy for a meta chaser.
Well, even so, I've had this conversation with somebody who wanted to buy a gift for their partner who plays Warhammer. This person knows nothing about Warhammer, and so I'm asking them, "Do you know what the armies they play or factions?" They're like, "No." Do they have a lot of miniatures? And they're like, yes. What do they look like? Are they painted or unpainted? Are they big or small? Is it just a human with a gun? Is it a green guy looks mean? Is it a monster? You have to try and figure out what faction they're playing, because this person doesn't know the words.
Does it have the top half of an ogre, bottom half of a dragon?
I feel like there's a really easy way for us as gamers to help out our partners and our family members and friends to buy us stuff, is just take pictures of your armies, send them to your family, and be like, show this to the people working at the store. This is what I own. And then they will not tell you to get more of that. Well, or maybe they will.
This sounds like a little bit of a fun topic. Let's take a quick break, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about the back half of the stuff, and then some more cool things that are happening. See you in just a minute, everybody.
FTN is brought to you by Discount Games Inc. Please visit them at www.discountgamesinc.com. And don't forget to ask Jay about ways to save even more on your hobby projects.
We are back, everyone. Thanks for joining us, and thanks for checking out our sponsors. So we're going to be talking about some gift giving advice. Maybe not on what to get, but how to come to the process of finding the right thing for somebody that you may want to get something that may be special for you. And our sponsors, Discount Games Inc., is a great place to check out, because especially if you know exactly what they want. But what happens when you don't know exactly what they want? And when I meant, of course, I was using that term meta chasers as a reverent phrase, and also, not unironically, that we do a show on another network called the Warhammer Meta Chasers, to where it's about it's tournament focused and things like that, a little tongue in cheek. But what it was meant to be, if something is cool, or it's a new unit, or we think we need it in our army, we'll just go get it. So I find, unless you have a specific list, and then so two things have to happen. One, you have to you have to get a list, in some way from whoever you want to get for, and then they have to resist getting it until you may or may not get something on that list.
And we're talking about muggles here, people who have no knowledge about what tabletop miniatures are, or game systems or anything like that. So they have no real knowledge of how to gain the information they would need to make an astute purchasing decision. So these are the people we're trying to assist.
Yeah, and then it's like, I think you were describing, and it's a real thing. Like I really would like to get something for someone that couldn't make it, and I want to surprise them. Well, what do they play? I don't know. Okay, well that's a hard one. It's like, but there are still things in this hobby that are just cool to have. In the example of the booth, there's event only models like that you can only get at the event store. So if they're collectors of commemorative models, then that is one thing to do. There are other unique things there, such as like there's objective markers that have faction specifics on them. So if you happen to know what they, at least an idea what they play, you got something there. I mentioned also the sweaters, and then there's like things like plushies, which are adorable. They're aggressively adorable. Is how I like of things that you can maybe you've seen them online, and that's the other thing I was talking about, those sweaters and like the other some of the other stuff. And you can find a lot of this stuff. And Tanya, thanks for suggesting this, but like going to the Warhammer merch link, and I'll put that in the show notes as well. And they have some sections, but some of these things that are on this website you can get, in some of the actual stores. So, seeing them and be able to get them is nice. They're nice. I don't know if y'all had more experience.
I feel like the merch store is really interesting too, because there are some things in there that are kind of, I want to say like faction agnostic, I guess. Like you could get, if you know that the person that plays Warhammer in your life loves Space Marine 2, but you don't really know what faction they necessarily play, you could get them some of the really cool Space Marine 2 merch that they've got in that store as well. And, they're going to love it because the people who like that game seem to be obsessed with it.
Those t-shirts that they have that have like the really nice logos and stuff, but it's not like traditional, not just like one logo plastered across. It's like there's things from the game that are on there. They're very nice.
They actually have like a really cool large neoprene gaming mat, like a large mouse pad mat that has the full art of Space Marine 2 on it, and it's beautiful. I'm not even really an Ultramarines fan, but I'm kind of tempted to get that mat because it is actually just gorgeous.
So I got my flesh hound with me. He's giant. He's the actual guest.
Yeah. Another thing to look at is also stuff that they may never occur to get for them because it's like slightly, hobby adjacent, such as like the Joy Toy figures. If you happen to know what they're playing, even if you get just like one basic trooper of a Joy Toy, that's a very thoughtful gift, and maybe not something they would get for themselves. And I, like me personally, I like some of those things that remind me of my hobby even when I'm not looking at a specific thing in the army or whatever. It's like, oh, that looks cool next to my hobby thing, or I get to have this on my desk at work, and as a link to things to keep, I got one eye cast, on the fun stuff while I'm having to do, the day-to-day stuff. Those are the types of things that I think are good gifts. And like a Space Marine, a Joy Toy Space Marine doesn't break the bank, kind of thing. Yeah. I'm not saying go crazy unless that's your jam, and go for the Knight, which did I show you that picture of me holding the Knight?
Yes.
Yeah, it is massive. It's massive. So don't you don't gotta go like that, but like just the singular, like rank and file tac squad guy or whatever is still a very nice thing.
Absolutely. I mean, the default vouchers. I mean, voucher to your local gaming store. Never be wrong. But I mean, a lot of people want to do a little better than that. I mean, I know. I personally will if I can't figure it out, I will get a voucher, but I'll always have a crack at trying to get something a bit more specific. Yeah. There's always like defaults. Like defaults is like either gaming aids or hobby aids. Everyone needs new brushes, right? I don't care how good you are at maintaining your brushes. Having a couple extra brushes around is always a good idea.
Raise your hand if your small detail brush is jacked up.
That thing has been through a lot.
Your girl is obsessed with brushes. These are like my used brushes that I keep for like basing and dry brushing and stuff. I have another jar this big full of fresh brushes that are ready to go. So you could always buy me brushes. I will always find a way to use them.
Yeah. I mean, like technically, you can't really go wrong with some rattle cans. Like Mechanica Standard Grey kind of works as the spray can for every army in the game. Some, black is a little better, some white's a little bit better, but Mechanica Standard Grey spray is all another grey primer is kind of just baseline good for everything.
Paint handles. And I know we're but like I think that everyone, if you've ever seen somebody's Instagram post where they have like the entire squad on paint handles, I get envious. Like I get a little jealous. I'm like, I should do that.
I own exactly 2. One little one, one big one. That's
what I've got too. But every time I see somebody with the full squad, I'm like, I would like to do that. I'd like to live that life,
They're really inexpensive, and you can get them on different like Etsy stores and stuff. If you know somebody who 3D prints, they can make this for you. This is something that is saved me on numerous occasions. But these little guys that hold your paint pots open for you.
Oh yes.
How many people have actually dumped Nuln Oil all over the place because you got to keep it open because you just keep dunking your brush in? Yeah, I've done it multiple times until I got this bad boy. So you could probably find somebody to print it for you in FDM for like $10 or less, and you could get multiples of them. And I think everybody who paints with contrast or washes needs to have at least one of these.
Interesting. I'm going to ask you something about contrast. I found having the pot open risks drying the pot. On contrast specifically, it might be an Australian climate thing. It is a lot drier and warmer here than.
I have only just started using contrast. I do live in the desert, but it is the winter right now. So
you shake, you get a good amount in the little lip palette, and I pop it open. And I was doing Leviathan purple, and I left it open. I was just putting some in my palette, but I left it open because I wanted to keep going back. Within about a minute or two, that reservoir at the top was completely bone dry, and I was like, ooh, I don't think I can leave this open. It might just be an Australia thing though. Like it could just be.
I actually usually take that paint out and put it like with the brush. I sop it up and put it back in the main part. So that probably does happen. But even if you just use the little base and sort of keep your paint sort of
you're not going to bash it over.
You're not going to tip it over or anything like that. You're going to be safe. So
I think some of the things we're describing are these are for anyone could potentially like this kind of stuff. Of course, honestly, if you know specifically what they want, it's not exactly what we're talking about. This is when you are, kind of casting in the dark.
I also have something that's kind of faction agnostic that might work for the gamer or painter in your life. I've been seeing more and more on my social media that professional painters and coaching services can offer you one-on-one coaching to work on the things that you want to work on.
That's clever.
So if you know that somebody in your life is playing Warhammer and maybe they're a little bit struggling getting some wins in, maybe you could buy them a coaching service session. Or if you know somebody just picked up an airbrush and they're having a hard time figuring out how it works, you could probably hire one of these painters to give them a little one-on-one session to help them figure it out.
That's really cool. And that's not something you could have said that we could do in our community a couple of years ago. So that's awesome. That's a really cool idea. Yeah.
And you're also giving the gift of experience as well, which is always extra special, I think.
Experiences are super high on priority for folks right now.
Yeah. One last thing I'll mention is that the centerpiece miniatures in our game have kind of never been better. And even for example, I don't play Necrons, but if someone gave me a Silent King, it's kind of, I don't need to play that army to enjoy building and painting that miniature. It is such a spectacular miniature. Triumphs of St. Catherine any Primarchs. These things kind of like cross borders. I mean, it's kind of like a bust, kind of like giving someone a bust of a miniature. Whereas like this is a fun enough experience, regardless of whether I play the faction, that this is enjoyable for me to do. And I would love to just have this like, you know, as part of my collection. So there is also that.
Yeah, and that right. That is I think if you're able to do it and it speaks to you and you're like, hey, I thought of you and this is what, you know,
yeah, that's
you got, that it speaks volumes. It goes a long way for sure. It will be appreciated. Absolutely. But this is, you know, speaking as someone, you know, I've been playing Warhammer for a ton of years. You know, it's very difficult to buy for us in that gift, that surprise gift capacity, you know.
I think also in terms of like giving the gift of experience, I know a lot of people do the hobby alone, and sometimes it would be nice to just hobby with somebody else. I know if one of my friends came up to me and was like, I want to learn how to paint a miniature. Would you paint one with me and teach me how to do it? Sometimes people would really like that. If that's somebody that you're really close to, maybe that's what you give them, is you give them your time enjoying their hobby with them.
Ooh, nice. Well, I like that. It looks going to be a kind of a short show this week, but before we did wrap up, and I do want to ask, you know, what's on y'all's hobby desk right now? I looked to the Instagram soon or whatever. I haven't posted anything yet, but I finally built those extra 6 blade guard and used the sanguinary guard sword bits that I didn't, because I built a unit with spears, and so I had extra swords. And, you know, all those parts are somewhat interchangeable, and they fit pretty well on the blade guard as well. I also use swords. It looks sweet, and I have them base coated and washed, and I've painted I've gotten one. Almost gotten them to the step where I can start getting like super creative with them, and that's what I'm really looking forward to. I mean, creative. I mean, like, you're switching between put it in the golds, block it in the golds, and purity seals and things like that, and then finally getting them to that bright red armor that I for my recipe. They're kind of flat right now, and just have the base coat, wash, and black around the shoulder pads and the eagles, and all the paneling, the hosing or whatever in between the joints and stuff. And it's about to get fun. And
nice.
Forward to jump into that on my hobby desk. Anything y'all working on?
Since the last time that I talked to everybody, because I said I was starting a Tyranids army. So since then, I have finished 10 Termagants, a Broodlord, 3 Rippers Swarm bases, and now I've got 10 Gene Stealers that are almost done as well. So I'm trying really, really hard to not worry about all my imperfections and just get it done, because this is my 3rd Horde army. I just want to get it done.
You are a glutton for punishment. What's your scheme? Like, did you go with the traditional hive?
No. So let me grab one here. So it's kind of like a pink flesh with this like bright lime neon green thing going on with like orange and forest green kind of accents, all on purple bases. Which sounds like a mess, but I think it's going to make sense when it's all put together. It'll make sense once you see the whole hive together.
Yeah. I like that. Yeah, awesome stuff. What did you use for the flesh? Like, is that just a primer and a wash or a contrast, or a...
So it is a white primer. It is a volupus pink contrast. My first time using contrast. And then it is a like pastel, really pale pink, and then a white dry brush on top. So just contrast and dry brush, and then we're good to go.
Nice.
Trying my best to keep it fast.
I am expanding my allies options for my Imperial Knight Army, and I'm painting up some Imperial Navy breeches at the moment.
Nice.
And they're 3/4 done. I've got just the silver to do. I just finished the gold, and there's a lot of gold on those dudes. Like, it took me longer than any other bit so far, and it's probably but that's what I mean. The longest bit, I'm over the hump. I'm over the hump of the longest base color, and so now just do the silver like on the gun barrels and a bit of like on the boots and stuff, and then wash it. And then I'll see what I can be bothered doing after that.
Nice. Look, we got work cut out for us. Gonna be cool to jump into that as time allows. All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining us. This again, short show. We would kind of be back to normal for next week. But nice hanging out with y'all. Thanks for hanging out with us. Please do not forget to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Maybe the notification button, so that you know when we do publish these things. I know we've been a little, I just say hit or miss, but we've been traveling a lot,
dude.
And
yeah.
I got no travel as far as I know for the rest of the year. So let's do this 40K thing.
Oh boy, a whole 4 weeks. Yeah. Woo!
Look, don't get me wrong, it is a privilege to go and talk about Warhammer and stuff and hang out at these conventions. It really, really is. But sometimes it does impact some of these other schedules, and I really apologize for that. But looking forward to doing this.
I haven't even done as much as you. I got home 2 weeks ago from Atlanta, from the Worlds, and now in 6 weeks from now, I'm back over to Palm Springs, hopefully. So
yeah, it's
wild.
It's gonna be good. Well, we'll see y'all soon, everybody. Let us know if you're, throw some in the comments. Are you working on anything? You got any projects you're lining up? Do you have any tips for the gift giving guides that we try to do to try to steer people into things that's going to make everybody happy? Let us know. We'll see y'all soon, everybody. Good night.
Take care.
Bye, everybody.